China and India vote for a United Nations resolution with a reference to Russia's aggression against Ukraine. The resolution is not centered on the Ukraine war and instead calls for greater cooperation between the United Nations and the Council of Europe. In a surprising diplomatic move, China and India, two countries that have carefully avoided condemning Moscow for launching the full-scale operation of Ukraine against Ukraine, despite repeated pleas from Western allies, have voted in favor of a United Nations resolution that explicitly acknowledges, quote, the aggression by the Russian Federation against Ukraine, end quote. The reference is found in just one paragraph of a broader resolution that calls for closer cooperation between the United States and Council of Europe, the Strasbourg-based human rights organization. The text, promoted by a wide group of European countries, together with Canada and the United States, received 122 votes in favor and 18 abstentions. China and India, which have consistently abstained from UN resolutions focused on the Ukraine war that openly condemned Russia, voted in favor of the whole text, as did Kazakhstan, Armenia, and Brazil. Only 5 countries opposed the resolution: Russia, Belarus, Syria, Nicaragua, and North Korea. The vote, which took place last week, initially went unnoticed due to the resolution's largely anodyne content, but some observers were sharp enough to spot the blink and you miss it reference to the Ukraine war inserted in the 9th paragraph of the preamble, which reads as follows: recognizing also that the unprecedented challenges now facing Europe following the aggression by the Russian Federation against Ukraine and against Georgia prior to that, and the cessation of the membership of the Russian Federation in the Council of Europe, we call for strengthened cooperation between the United States and the Council of Europe. Joseph Borrell, the European Union's foreign policy chief, celebrated the vote on his Twitter account and the endorsement by key G20 partners such as China, Brazil, India, and Indonesia. It's highly unlikely the vote heralds a foreign policy shift in either Beijing or New Delhi's agenda, given their close military and economic links with Moscow and their firm refusal to align themselves with Western political views. Still, considered the widely documented reluctance by both countries to publicly denounce Russia's war, the little move represents a remarkable development in itself. China, in particular, has been under intense pressure from the West to openly censure the Kremlin for launching the invasion. A 12-point document released in February by the Chinese Foreign Affairs Ministry and described as a peace plan, quote-unquote, was lambasted by Europeans for blurring the lines between the aggressor Russia and the victim Ukraine. At no point does the plan use the term war, invasion, or aggression to describe the situation on the ground, and instead talks of the Ukrainian crisis, quote-unquote. China's deliberately ambivalent position, which the West sees as plainly Russian-leaning, was one of the main points of disagreement during last month's meeting in Beijing between Chinese President Xi Jinping and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Let's remember she went there with French President Emmanuel Macron. Now, China, being a permanent member of the UN Security Council, has a big responsibility to use its influence in the friendship that is built on decades with Russia, and we count on China to really exert also its responsibility and to very clearly in the messaging von der Leyen said at the end of that trip. And weeks later, Xi Jinping held his long-awaited call with President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, the first since Russia launched the invasion. On the Ukrainian crisis, China always stands on the side of peace. Its core stance is to facilitate talks for peace, said an official readout released by the Chinese government after that call. The readout, however, did not mention Russia by name. And this is on Euronews by Jorge Liborero. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.